Okay, anyone attended any of previous webinars hosted from international talent in Sweden? If yes, you can type S in the comments. If not, you can type no. Is this your first event from international talent in Sweden? Okay. If you have not attended, you can enter no. I'm just trying to share the links for last minute joiners. Some people are messaging me. Okay, so the session will be in 3 stages. In the first stage, you will attend a quiz. It will have around 40 questions and you answer each question. Each question is a kind of revision for you, what you know about the recruitment processes and the ATS systems and everything, the resume best practices. And the second section will be, we completely discuss about the each question and we see who answered what. And the third stage is just sum. We can take a break. It's going to be a bit longer session. It's not just 1 hour session, and there will be no presentation or slides. The slides will be there at the end. It will be just a summary of what we have discussed and learned. So try to be interactive. Don't be shy. You can turn on your video, though it's not mandatory, it's optional. But feel free to turn on your mic and start asking questions and start sharing your opinion also. So we make it interactive. You can also, if you can't unmute and talk, you can also enter in the chat, but be interactive. Otherwise, what happens at some point, it will start getting slow and boring to you because you're not actively involved. But if you're involved, then it will become very interesting. Okay, just one more second. We are going live on LinkedIn as well. Once I set that up, I will start sharing my screen and we will enter into the session. Okay, you can get your mobile phone with you and make sure it is connected to internet because you need to scan a QR code and then start answering the questions in the quiz. If otherwise, you can also take the quiz in the web using your laptop. But for that, you need to switch from meeting window to another window, which is also fine, no problem. But it is more convenient if you use your mobile. Okay, so we're all ready to go. We do portrait on Instagram, horizontal on LinkedIn, and horizontal on YouTube. and the title will be ATS Resume. All right, let me start sharing my screen. Before that, welcome everyone. This is Jagadish. I will share my LinkedIn link in the chat. You can connect with me and learn more about me. Today, I will skip my introduction and my company introduction because we are going to have a bit longer session. So I will save my time. But in a nutshell, I have 15 plus years of experience in IT and tech. I have been an entrepreneur for more than 6 years in Sweden. I've been running a group called International Talent in Sweden to help people get jobs in Sweden. Uh, I've conducted more than 100 workshops, a lot of trainings, boot camps to help people get into IT. Most of the workshops I do are in tech area, but other insights related to job searching is open for everyone. So, for example, this session is not necessarily only for tech people, but for anyone who is looking for a job in Sweden. A little bit more about me and my companies. You can get an overview on my LinkedIn. It's good to connect. So feel free to share your LinkedIn as well in the chat because you have a like-minded people here. Okay. So hope you're ready with your devices. I will share the screen. Those who just joined, this is how we are going to do. Um, just give me 1 minute. I will check if we are on live on LinkedIn or not. Can someone check if we are going live on LinkedIn or not? Yeah, we are going live on LinkedIn. So it's good. Mm, Yeah, so those who just joined, this session is going to be in three stages. First stage, you will have a quiz. You just have to scan the QR code or open the link that I will share in the chat and then enter into the quiz. There will be around 40 questions. The quiz will take 15 to 20 minutes. By 20 minutes, we will end the quiz. We will not prolong the quiz. And then the second stage is we will start discussing each question. So that is the main topic. That is the main subject matter today. Discussing each question. With that 40 questions, we will get clear picture about ATS system, recruitment processes, and the resume best practices. And finally, we will have a presentation where we will discuss the summary of everything that we discussed in quiz and the Q&A. And after that, I can take some questions. So that is the agenda for today. And let me share my screen now. Yep. So you can scan this QR code and enter your name. So your name is visible here. I will also share the link in the chat so that you can also enter using. I will make this full screen. Just give me 1 minute. I will reshare. I entered the link in the chat. Those who are joining this from LinkedIn Live or Instagram or YouTube, you can scan this QR code and join. In meeting, we have 14 people. So if one more person joins, we can start the quiz. Okay, I'm starting the quiz. Let's go. Those who just joined or watching the stream on social media platforms, you can go to joinmyquiz.com and enter this code, or You can, if you are in Zoom meeting, you can already see the link in the chat. You can enter the quiz using the chat. So for Shimita is leading, followed by Narayanan and Vidya. We'll see who will win. Hi, Jinu. Jinu, I think you should beat everyone and become a topper. We have 10 more minutes. Hello, Sachin. If you are watching from LinkedIn, what you can do, you can go to joinmyquiz.com and enter this code 265345. Or it's okay even if you don't enter in the quiz, just wait for 10 more minutes and we will start discussing each question. Hello, Manoj. If you want, you can join this quiz by going to joinmyquiz.com and enter the code 265345, or you can just stay in the meeting for just 10 more minutes and then we will start discussing about each question. Okay, Vidya is on top now, followed by Narayanan. I think Shimita finished all her questions. Okay, we have two Vidyas in top. Okay, Vidya number 4, you can beat the Vidya with H. You still have the chance. Vidya almost finished her questions. We have Soumya just joined. Soumya, try to answer as much as you can in next 5 to 6 minutes. Last 4 minutes. Almost everyone finished. Whoever started on time finished all the questions. Vasavi, once you finish, we will end the quiz. Meanwhile, those who finished, if you want to speak about any question, if you find anything interesting, you can share your what do you feel. Vidya, was there any question that is very interesting to you?
Yeah, how can we really make our CV with the 15 years of experience as one pager? It's really tough.
That's how many years of experience?
15.
I have 15. I have a single page resume. So you will get answer today.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone? Anything interesting that you found in the entire questionnaire? You can enter in the chat or unmute and talk.
So there was one question that ATS doesn't look only for the keywords. I'm just curious,
Keywords, yeah.
what are the other factors that ATS is involved with to shortlist our resume?
Okay, we will discuss. Okay, then I will end the quiz. Let me share my screen and see who topped. Okay, I'm alive. I'm going to end. Okay, we have a 91% accuracy. That's great. Okay, Vidyas are dominating the game. Congrats, Vidya with H and Vidya and Narayanan. Nice, good job, everyone. Now let's go to the discussion. As I said, this is the first part, and the second part is discussing about the questions. Before I talk about all these questions, I just want to mention one thing. This is the only session that you need to know everything about resumes, how to create best resumes, and then how application tracking systems work, and how to think from the recruiter's point of view, etc., etc. I just want to make it very clear that resume is not a very complicated subject. You don't have to bang your heads too much. It is very simple. Unnecessarily, some people made it very complicated by adding some misconceptions and myths. So my goal in this session is to just bust some myths and also give you the best practices. And that's all you need. After that, you can just learn a little bit about cover letter and LinkedIn, how to use your LinkedIn, because resume, cover letter, and LinkedIn are the tools that gets you interview. But the real game starts when you start attending the interview. No one hires you because you have best resume or you have best LinkedIn or you have amazing cover letter. No one hires you for that. These three will only get you an interview. You will get hired based on your performance in the interview. So if there is anything that you need to really worry about a lot or prepare a lot, that is about how to prepare for interview, how to present yourself in the interview. We are also going to have one session on how to prepare for interview, I think on 30th, online. It is also online. You can find on our LinkedIn page, or if you follow me on LinkedIn, you will get the notification. I'll make some posts about it. But when it comes to resume, you don't have to bang your head too much. You can just learn what works and then simply apply, and it works. That's what we are going to cover today. And be open-minded. For example, if you learned something that has been working for you in your home country or in a different place, be open to discard it if it doesn't work here. If it works, it's okay. But if it doesn't work, be open to change it. And be open to have a friendly debate. You don't have to agree with everything that I'm saying today. But at the same time, you can't simply don't say anything if you disagree, because then you will not learn. You will still be doing the things that you were doing and getting the same results. If it was not working, it will not work even after this session. If it works, it works. So be open to discuss, ask questions. Don't hesitate to contradict if you think this is something wrong or this works or this doesn't work, etc. Whenever I share my opinion, I will make it very clear that I'm sharing my opinion. If it is something that I know for sure that works in Sweden, I will share it as a fact or something that works. But I'll make sure that if I'm sharing my opinion, I will say it is my opinion. Only there are 1 or 2 places where I will share my opinion. But remaining all that is based on my more than 6 years of closely working with international talent in Sweden and job market. It is from my own learning and also from the learnings of people who got jobs who I mentored in the last 6 years. Now let's jump into the discussion of each question. Let's see what's the first thing that comes to the people's mind when they hear about ATS. Automatic rejection, keywords, ad hoc keywords, tracking system, plain CV, keyword matches. Yes, so more than 90% of the people, if not 99% of the people, think that ATS automatically rejects resumes by scanning the resume and matching it against the job description. That's what most of the people believe. And that's why people try to create ATS friendly resumes and stuff keywords so that ATS will not automatically reject them and they will get selected. But that's completely false. That's a false belief. If that is true, then you can just simply copy paste your resume based on the job description, and you should always get selected for the interviews. You should never get rejected. Your resume should go through for every job that you apply if you just copy paste what is there in the job description. But that is not also happening, right? Then so that is one logical conclusion that that belief is not true, but I will also prove you or show you why it is a false belief. Let's go to second question. One word that describes how resume writing feels. Is my voice audible, clear? Is it clear? I forgot to put my mic in front of me. Can you just tell me if my voice is clear?
Like it's better now.
I think it's better now.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay, so one word that is challenging, struggle, irritating, exhausted, clear, stressful, medium, difficult, interesting. Okay. Okay, whoever said interesting, so you're really very good with resumes, but at least for me, it is exhausting and it is hectic. Writing resume is not an easy job. If it is an easy job, you should rethink whether you are writing in a correct way or not. Personally, I feel you must spend a lot of time having your own standard resume. And once you have it, then for every job, you should keep on modifying it, which is again irritating job. But so that's the thing. That is the basic human psychology. If something that is repetitive, automatically it gets boring. And the most successful people are those who does the boring thing, who does the repetition again and again, irrespective of how they feel, irrespective of their mood. This resume writing also one such thing for me. It is never a simple thing or easy thing. First, you must invest a lot of time figuring out one good template that you like or works, and then keep on modifying it for every job that you apply. So most of the things are like, you can see you're not alone in this. Most of the people feel just like you, that it is a boring job or challenging or tiring, exhausting, stressful, etc. Let's go to the next one. Yeah, so this is the interesting part. This question mostly reveals and proves that this first belief is wrong. So a lot of people think that ATS is a automated rejection system. But when we ask which ATS does that, most of the people don't know. As you can see here, most of the people mention none. And ChatGPT is not an ATS. Enhanced CV is not an ATS. Enhanced CV is a tool that helps you to create a resume. ATS is application tracking system used by companies to track your application and automate some stuff, not rejection. For example, Greenhouse is an ATS, Team Tailor is an ATS, but Team Tailor Greenhouse doesn't do what you are thinking. Team Tailor has no feature that will automatically reject your resumes. So as you can see, most of the people don't know what ATS software really does that, or don't even know the name of a single ATS, which is fine because we are not in recruitment, we are not in HR professions. Even if you are in HR, if you are not into recruitment, if you are into HR administration, payroll, or some other stuff, not necessarily you should know any ATS tools because that's not our job. So that's fine. Not knowing is okay. But believing ATS rejects, even if you don't know which ATS does that, is not smart thing. For example, today we are having this webinar and I'm using a platform called Zoom. So if someone says I'm hosting a webinar, you can ask them, okay, on which platform? They can say Zoom, Teams, or some other platforms like streaming platforms. They will give the name of that software that they are using for hosting the webinar. Similarly, if someone says ATS is rejecting the resumes automatically, you should ask them which ATS does that. And most of the times, no one has answer to that question. And even if they give that name, you can go to ChatGPT or Greenhouse. Unfortunately, ChatGPT also tells you initially that ATS rejects resumes because ChatGPT or Claude or any other AI tool obviously gives you the information that has been fed to it for ages. So for many years, there are hundreds of blog posts who, which are written by some career coaches about ATS being, rejecting the resumes automatically, matching the keywords, ATS friendly resume stuff, etc., etc. So ChatGPT might also give you wrong information. ChatGPT or some other AI tools still cannot generate some stuff because they don't have that data. But if you go a little bit critical and ask specific question, so what are the features of Team Tailor? You can go to Team Tailor's website and check. Or you can go to any of the ATS platforms websites and create a trial account for yourself, create a job post, and then apply to that job post and see where does this automated rejection system work. You can't find it, basically. Nowadays, with the help of AI, there is some scoring system in place, but before AI, there was never a automated rejection system. But this automated rejection misconception has been there for more than a decade or 15 years. AI came very recently. With AI, there is a scoring system that is in place right now. There is also a recruitment system or video interview systems, etc., etc. We will also talk about them at the end. But for now, let's stick to application tracking systems. Once again, Novo Resume, Enhanced CV are tools to create Canva, tools to create your resume, not ATS systems. ATS systems are different. ATS systems are used by companies for tracking the applications. Even ChatGPT is also not ATS. Now let's go to the questions. How many of you think ATS automatically rejects resumes based on keywords? 4 people think it's true and 10 people think it's false. Good. So whoever is thinking ATS is rejecting your resume based on keywords, it's a misconception. It does not do that. Now you can stop blaming ATS for not getting shortlisted so that you can start learning what actually works and what is missing in your resume. You can stop me at any point and ask me a question on any of the questions that we are discussing, and we can have a little bit more discussion. If you have a different opinion, you can also share so that we can have more discussion on that. Okay? Fine, everyone? Yep. How long is your current resume? We have 6 people who have 1 page and 8 people who have 2 page. Okay, we don't have anyone who has more than 3 pages. That is good. So how long a resume should be, ideally?
It should be 1 page, but based on the experience, and if we have more number of years of experience, it's really not possible to fit into 1 page.
Okay, why not 10 pages? Why 1 page?
Okay, so the recruiters, they will not have enough time to look into all the 10 pages. If we are keeping our skills and relevant experience in a concise pages with less number of page, and also they will feel, okay, we are communicating to them in a precise manner, that what they are looking for and what we are providing matches. So there is no point in giving stories for about 10 pages.
Okay, so Rita thinks that recruiters doesn't have much time. So if you send a long resume like 10 pages, they will not have enough time to go through it. So it's good to give a concise 1 page resume with enough details. Do you all agree with the Rita's reasoning? So recruiters don't have time. That's why we should not send long resumes. Or do you think there is another reason for not sending long resumes? Or do you think, is it fair recruiters not spending enough time to go through our resume if we send it? Okay, so okay, let's discuss. Okay, now start thinking from the recruiter's point of view. From now onwards, from today onwards, you start thinking from the recruiter's point of view. It can be HR, it can be the technical panel that taking your interview, it can be the co-founder, CEO, CTO, or the hiring manager, whoever is taking the interview. This entire job search process until you get the job, starting from application to attending interviews, you start thinking from the recruiter's point of view. So a lot of things will make sense to you. If you start thinking from the job seeker point of view, you're thinking from your point of view, but you are not going to give job to yourself. It is the recruiters or the hiring team that is going to give the job. So now if you start thinking from their side, everything will start making sense. Otherwise you will never understand a few things. Now you applied for a job, and from the recruiter point of view, you are not the only person who applied for that job. There can be 50, 100, or even more than 100 applications. Now when they receive more than 100 applications, practically they will not have enough time to go through all the applications. So naturally the recruiters, or even if you are recruiting, you will start finding ways to filter out all these applications so that you can get the most relevant and put them into the interview process. Always remember, hiring is not a easy task for companies. Hiring is a painful task. It is very hectic task for them also. It is very difficult to find relevant profiles. Even if they find relevant profiles and do all the interview and scheduling interviews with all the panel and then finally selecting the candidates, there is no guarantee that they will join or they will not join. So it's all a painful saga. It is not easy for anyone. It is more painful for the companies than the candidate. Trust me when I say this. Companies struggle a lot hiring the right person for the team. And even after hiring, if the person is not a good fit, then it is even more challenging and expensive for companies. So companies are not playing a game. Companies are seriously trying to find a candidate for that position. And when they get hundreds of applications, naturally they will find a ways to filter the most relevant profiles. That is when the time comes into picture and the length of your resume comes into picture. As Rita said, if you send a very long resume, they might not have enough time to look into it. That's why it's good to send very short resume. So is it my opinion or is it a standard? That is the important thing. Yes. So okay, Shimita, I will come to your question. As I said, I also have 15 years of experience, and then we will discuss more about it. The most challenging part in having a one-page resume is your experience and the projects, number of projects and companies you worked. It becomes more and more difficult, but there is a way. We will discuss that. And again, as I said at the beginning, you don't have to agree with me at all. You can completely disagree with me, and we can have a discussion, and then we can establish what works. It's not about who is right, who is wrong. We can have a debate. This is what I always say in all my webinars and seminars. We can have a debate, and you can argue that 10-page resume is the best, and you will beat me in the argument, and I will lose. I'm saying that one-page resume is best. But then just because you won the argument doesn't mean that you get shortlisted tomorrow. You may never get shortlisted. Uh, that is why it is very important to understand what works in the country you are in. That is the most important thing. Okay, that is what we establish. What works here? Okay, right. So what format do you usually use when we did not conclude the previous question? We will conclude. We just said one-page resume is good, but we did not discuss in deep why it's good. In upcoming questions, we will discuss that also. Now, what format do you usually use when sending resumes? Most of the people mentioned PDF, one person selected doc. Okay, I strongly recommend using PDF because PDFs are ATS friendly. Okay, when I say ATS friendly, then don't assume that the typical ATS friendly for matching against keywords. No, most of the application tracking system, if you send a PDF, they open the PDF inside the application itself, so that the recruiters don't have to download it and open it in a separate application or in separate window. It will open inside the ATS software itself. That is one convenience. Unless if the recruiters ask for you to send in a Word document or in a different format, always send PDFs. PDFs are the safe bet. PDFs work everywhere. So it's a safe bet you can use. Only if they ask for a different format, to send them a different format. Okay, any questions here? Fine. Then if no one has any questions, I strongly recommend using always PDFs because PDFs work in all the softwares. Also, one more thing. For example, I am using a MacBook and I don't have any Microsoft Office or any Microsoft softwares in my machine. So if you send me a doc, I can't open it. I have to download it, and if I click it, it will open in Apple's default application, and then the format will be completely corrupted. If I drop it to Google Drive and then open it, there again it is the same story. So that's why I remind this again and again. Think from the recruiter's point of view. Don't make the recruiter's life complicated or difficult. Always make it easy at every stage and at every step. So make it easy by giving them what they want. That's it. And not giving what they don't want. So sending PDF is enough. Every system, every operating system can open PDF by default, even if they don't install any external software. I can open PDF in my Mac without Adobe Acrobat Reader. It will open in preview. I can still read it. So PDFs are the safe bet. So as no one has any questions on this format, let's move to the next section. Yeah, so this is the interesting point. How much time do you think recruiters spend reading your resume? Less than 1 second, less than 10 seconds, less than 1 minute. I'm glad no one selected less than 10 minutes. But even those who thought less than 1 minute are still very optimistic people. Whoever selected less than 8 are the practical people, realistic people. And this is not something, again, I came up with. These are statistics. You can go to ChatGPT or Google and you can put it. Ask this and it will tell you the same thing. Now, again, I will ask the same question. Is it fair from the recruiter's point of view to spend less than 10 seconds in shortlisting your resume? Because you have spent so much time, efforts, and so much emotion involved in job search, and that took just seconds to reject. Is it fair? Enter in the chat or unmute and say. Okay, everyone, please enter in the chat. Let's make it interactive. Let's not make it one-sided because we have 23 more questions to discuss or 33 more questions to discuss. Do you think it's fair? Yes or no?
I feel that their point of view, they have more experience in reviewing a lot of resume. So within 10 seconds, they can conclude that, okay, this resume it's relevant for the job description or not. So that's why they're spending less than 10 seconds. This is my
Yeah,
opinion.
that makes sense. But is it fair? I want to ask everyone. Type yes or no in the chat. Is it fair? Come on, I haven't seen any message in the chat.
I think it's not fair from job search. I mean, from the people who are looking
Yeah.
for the job.
Okay. So
I agree with it.
Vidya says no. Who says fair? Who else says no?
I
Not
say
fair?
no. Yeah.
Not fair? Yeah, okay. So, if someone is spending just few seconds in selecting or rejecting us, when we put a lot of effort, then naturally we feel that it's not fair. But let's understand from the practical point of view. Again, put yourself in the shoes of the recruiters. You got 150 applications for a job that you are willing to recruit. Is it practically possible to go through every application, spend 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and then shortlist that? Is it practically possible? No, it's not practically possible. There are again two aspects in this. One, the typical human psychology or behavior aspect, and the other thing is the number of tasks that HRs has. They're not just only recruiting, they'll be doing other tasks as well. They have to do a lot of other stuff as well. At the beginning of the quiz, there was one question about what comes to your mind when it comes to creating a resume. A lot of people mentioned, boring, repetitive, hectic, etc., etc. It is the same for recruiters also. For any human being, doing a repeated task is not a fun task. It's boring, it is hectic. Same, going through all the 100, 150 resumes or even more is a boring task, a hectic task. Naturally, people find ways to filter it. And when I have 100 plus resumes, for me, it is the most practical thing to quickly find out some good resumes so that I move them to next section and there I will spend more time on the resume. That's what anyone would do. That's what you would do. Not just in recruitment, in any other thing. If you get a lot of data and you have to select a few pieces of data from it, you will quickly find ways to filter out and then you pick some small amounts of data and then you start working more on that data. You start spending more time on that data. Same is done by HRs. So there is no question of whether it's fair or not fair. It is definitely not unfair. That is how everybody does it. If they get only just 5 to 10 applications, then they will spend more time. Otherwise, if someone gets a lot of applications, then no one spends more time on it. Sometimes your resume might never be opened at all, which is also fair because now I got 100 resumes and then in first 10 applications itself, I got good relevant profiles. I'm looking for some salesperson with 5 years of experience with outbound sales focused. And I got first 10 applications with all the relevant experience, 5, 6 years experience, outbound sales experience. If mine is matching, then I don't even look at, when I say I, think of it as recruiters. Recruiters don't even look at the applications that are coming after those 10 resumes. They will move to the next section and then they will start shortlisting, start calling them and start sending them mails and then eventually moving them to the next rounds, further rounds. And whoever applies, then their resumes will be directly moved to rejection column. They will never be opened even. So that's how recruitment works. So we need to understand how it works and then plan our strategy accordingly. Otherwise, there is no point thinking about whether it's the right approach or wrong approach or the recruiters are fair or not. Yeah, so yes, recruiters will have very less time, less than 10 seconds. That is the conclusion. Now our job is to find a way to get shortlisted in that less than 10 seconds, provided if they open. That's why a lot of jobs are also FCFS, first come, first serve basis. The sooner you apply, the better your chances of getting shortlisted and getting hired. Let's go to next question. Yes, have you ever been told your resume is not getting past the ATS? Yes, a lot of people give this advice, especially some career coaches, not all the career coaches. I have some career coaches as my friends, so I can't blame all because some people don't say that. Especially those who were never part of any recruitment system, who never used ATS by themselves, who never hired inside a company, who never have basically first-hand experience, say these kind of promote these kind of misconceptions or myths that ATS will reject your resume. You should have a ATS friendly resume, otherwise your resume will not pass the ATS, etc., etc. At least every job seeker at least one point might have heard about this ATS friendly stuff. Okay, what tool application you use to create resume? As you can see here, there are different tools available. I personally use Canva. I have been using Canva for 6 years. Before coming to Sweden, I had a consultant profile of 6 to 7 pages actually. Uh, and my first page was completely with certifications, and the actual profile starts from the second page. But now I have single page resume. At least until I was looking for a job, I always have single page resume, and I use Canva. And I have been training and mentoring people for 6 years, and different people use different resume building applications. There was one tool called Novo Resume. I really liked that, but now they made it a paid version. Earlier, it was free for one resume and one cover letter. It has very good templates, but there are hundreds of such tools. There are paid, there are free. You can pick any of your choice. I don't recommend any single tool that is the best for creating resume. You can pick any. There is also Overleaf, which is popular by among students, university students. That is also good. And using Word or using Google Docs and then converting them to PDF, that is also good. So there are so many. You can pick any one of your choice and start working on your resume. What is important is the components of your resume is the most important, not which tool you are using. All tools also promote themselves as ATS friendly, etc., etc. But it doesn't matter. Every tool has the same features, more or less, different templates, horizontal, vertical, two column, etc., with picture, without picture, etc. But for you as a user, what is important is placement of the content in the resume is the most important. That is what you need to,
I will
uh,
continue.
yeah, you need to worry, not anything else. So the conclusion of this question is you can use any tool of your choice. There is no one fixed tool that is the best in the world. For example, if you take Canva, maybe there is this little bit of learning curve because it has a fixed format, and if you mess up with the format, then yeah, you have to. There is a little bit learning curve. So otherwise, if you go with enhanced CV or resume builders like Novo Resume, Kick Resume, some others, you just enter the data and it will generate the format for you. You don't have to custom edit the positioning of each block, just like unlike in Canva. But as I said, I like Canva. Okay, now another interesting question. Do you include your photo on your resume when applying in Sweden? This is always 50-50 whenever I conduct this webinar or seminar. People divide into two groups. And I always ask this question. Those who are saying no, why, like you don't include your photo on your resume when applying? Why? Why do you do not include your picture? What's the reason? You can unmute and say, or you can also enter in the chat. But I need at least 5 reasons. 5 people, because we have 6 people who said no. Come on, we're not going to continue the session if we don't get the responses. We have 12 people. Those who are watching on LinkedIn or in other places, you can also enter in the comments. Why do you think you should not add a picture? Okay, Narayanan says takes space. Okay, good. What about others? Shimita thinks okay, some roles don't require a picture. Yeah.
I can speak. So basically, for example, if you work in an office setting, like for example, an HR, a financial person, and so on, I don't think the picture is relevant in the CV. One, like our colleague, the other person said, it requires a lot of space. In public positions, for example, a receptionist, a salesperson, even the hotel reception, whatever, people that work in the public, it is important because we need to see as a recruiter if the person has the, it's not this pretty, but if it, how can I say in English?
Yeah. I get it.
Do you understand? Like he has the
Yeah.
posture to work for that position. It doesn't, it's not really related to beauty and so on. If it does, has the profile for the job. Okay. But as an HR and a recruiter, and this is my position, I'm an HR generalist, and I've done 10,000 CVs. And for me, it doesn't make sense. It's like the same thing with the cover letter. For me, no one reads a cover letter. Most of the recruiters, in my point of view.
Yep. So I agree. Most of the jobs does not require, but some jobs require pictures. For example, when I was conducting this seminar, in-person seminar, last week, someone told I don't include picture because I'm not applying for any modeling jobs or modeling roles. So which makes sense. Okay, so those who have not included pictures, they have a reason for not including space constraints and not needed and equal opportunity, etc. Okay, now I will ask you one question. Personally, again, this is my opinion. This is where, I have my first opinion here, and I have one more opinion I will share. I will ask you one question. Do you accept a connection request from someone on LinkedIn or anywhere in any other social medias if they don't have their picture? Do you accept? Yes or no? You can enter in the chat.
Oh.
No, right? I don't accept. For example, if someone sends me a connection request, I ignore basically. I don't even look at the profile. That doesn't mean that I'm really interested in that person's face, but it is a sense of trust. Okay, Narayanan has no problem accepting. Yeah, that's why I said this is my opinion. So most of the times, most of the people do not accept connection requests, not because it's something wrong, but because psychologically, subconsciously, you will get a sense of trust. Okay, this is the person who sent me the connection request, and this is the person I'm connecting to. That is what by default your brain starts thinking. The same logic applies to resumes as well. A lot of people think that by adding resume, the picture in the resume, I might be revealing my nationality, identity, or race, or color, or etc. Thus, I might get less chances of getting shortlisted. Some people mention this too. But you don't have to have that fear of getting rejected because someone looks at your face. If that is the case, you shouldn't worry about that because it's good for you if someone is not selecting you and rejecting you, if they have such feelings or opinions. Because anyways, you can't hide yourself for very long. Even if you get shortlisted, you will attend the interview, they will see you, they will listen to you, and you really don't want to be in that workplace where people reject you because of your face or your color or your race or whatever it is. So there is no valid reason for not putting a picture. But if you put a picture, you create a sense of trust that they know you. But in Sweden, there is no mandatory requirement or a standard that you must use picture, you must put picture, etc. Personally, I have been keeping picture in all my applications, and I know people who never kept pictures, still got shortlisted and still got jobs. But I choose to put. So again, even in all the webinar seminars I conducted, it is always 50-50. It's never majority of the people who wants to use picture and very less people who don't want to use picture. It's not like that. It's always close to 50-50. So you can do what is best for you, but I recommend if you can add, it's good to add so that they can see you. And I strongly recommend getting one professional HD portrait picture of yourself and keep it in your resume, your LinkedIn, your cover letter, everywhere, wherever you are. As long as you are a job seeker, give your best professional appearance on your applications. Nowadays you can use AI, but don't use 10 years old pictures, or don't use AI generated pictures. It should be close to how you look in real life, not very far. You can edit a little bit, do some filters, but when someone looks at you, it is you, not someone completely different person. So I strongly recommend getting one HD portrait picture and using it in all the platforms. Do the same after getting the job also. If you are invited in Slack or Teams, have your best professional version picture there, update there. Because you cannot see, basically the interview process itself is broken. Someone is trying to judge you whether you are suitable for this position or not, just on one document in 1 hour interview or 2 hours interviews, etc. It is already broken by default. There is nothing much we can do about it. So every opportunity you get to present your version, you present the best professional version of yourself. And the picture is also an opportunity for you to present your version. So that's what I recommend and I suggest. Is it okay, black and white? As long as it looks good, it's okay, black and white, color or anything. But as I said, use HD portrait. HD portrait. You can go to Google and check HD professional portrait. You will get some examples where your best version of professional outfit. For example, this session today, I can also take it in a t-shirt, in a very casual dress. I don't have to wear a blazer, but I want to present my best professional version so that whoever comes, they will not have a professional feeling, not a casual feeling. So your appearance does matter, and in the application, you can't appear. Your picture is what speaks for yourself. Okay, now Vasavi is asking very good question. I heard that ATS systems will have trouble reading the images. Is it true? No, it is not true. I was also expecting from someone that they would say this, that, I'm not adding picture because it is not ATS friendly. As I said at the beginning, ATS will not do this part. If you create your resume and export it as a PDF and it has a picture, it is fine. That's it. It opens in any of the ATS softwares, just like any other resume that does not have picture also. So ATS will not break if you add picture. ATS will not break if you have high graphics in your resume. Nothing will happen as long as it is a PDF. So no, it is a false belief that adding pictures will make your resume less ATS friendly is a misconception. You can safely add. Right, let's move to the next question. What is the purpose of application tracking system? Yeah, so now the purpose of a application tracking system is organizing and tracking the job applications for recruiters. Its purpose is not automatically scanning the resumes and rejecting. No, it's not its purpose. Companies cannot afford to believe a bot to reject resumes automatically. Now with AI, it's changing slightly, but there are very strict regulations. At least in EU, there are very strict regulations in using AI in recruitment. So never assume that companies can use just one bot and then just start rejecting all the candidates. It is too expensive to use such feature for any company. As I said, recruitment is a pain. Recruitment is a very hectic process for companies. They can't simply just let one bot start rejecting all the resumes. It might reject one qualified resume as well. So it is the humans that are rejecting your resumes always, not the bots. We will discuss a little bit more about what ATS will do if not rejecting resumes. Which of the following statement about ATS is false? It is, yeah, we discussed this already many times. ATS automatically deletes resumes with images or graphics, thinking this is false. No, it does not delete. It has nothing to do with your picture on your resume. It is the human recruiter who will see your picture, not the ATS. Anyways, these image recognition systems, they have become popular in very recent times. They even did not exist when this misconception become very popular. What is true is ATS helps recruiters manage and sort applications. That is what it is true. ATS parses text of your resume to extract information. No, it is false. Now AI is doing that, not ATS. It is the AI that is doing. And ATS allows recruiters to search resumes by keywords. No, this is also not true. Right. What approach to keywords is recommended for resumes? Tailoring your resume to include relevant keywords naturally. This is a very important exercise that you must do every time you apply for a job. Every time you apply for a job, you must modify your resume to match the keywords against the job description, not because you need to satisfy ATS, but because a human recruiter will read it and you are helping them with these relevant keywords that you are best fit for this job. But do not stuff as many keywords as possible, thinking that you will beat the ATS. Your resume looks clumsy. Yeah, so some people also do these tricks, like they will hide keywords in white text on the resume. They will put them somewhere and they will make them change the color to white, and then they will apply and thinking, because all these exercises will come believing ATS is actually scanning your resume and then shortlisting or rejecting you, not using any keywords from job ads. So this is also not good. If you are not customizing your resume for every job that you apply, then you are doing it wrong. Which resume file format is generally not recommended? Yeah, some people send JPG images. This is true. I received when we were hiring for some design related roles, some people sent images, JPG images, which was very difficult to open it and read it. Though once you open it, it looks good, but yeah, until then it's a little bit hectic. Plain text files, no, not recommended. The best Microsoft Word is also not recommended. The best is always PDF. If they ask for any external format, then send that format. For example, Microsoft Word. Usually the consulting agencies will ask you to send in a document format, not in a PDF format, so that they can edit it. And when they edit it, they remove your name and contact details and send it to the prospects or clients. Because consulting agencies are not hiring directly, they are hiring for a client. And the client pays the consulting agency pays you, so that they can take some commission every month. So that is their business model. So they will ask you to send in some format they have or a Word document so they can edit it. But they will ask explicitly if they need it. So you always send by default PDF. If someone asks, you send them the format that they are expecting. Which resume style is preferred in Sweden? Yeah. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that some practice, maybe 10-page resume, 5-page resume, or resume with graphics or with no pictures or these, that, etc. All your opinions about resume might be working in a country where you were before. But now in the country you are, you need to understand what is the standard. It is not a debate about who is right, who is wrong. It is all about what is working here. And if you learn that and you just follow it, that's it. So in Sweden, in European countries, most of the European countries and Western countries, one-page resume is the basic standard. Everyone accepts one-page resume. No one hates one-page resume. So you can simply follow it. What happens if you don't follow it? Let's say you're using 3-page resume or 4-page resume. Then forget about the resume content and template and format, how it is structured. You might be understood that you don't even know the standard, the basic things, what works here. Because it is an unwritten rule. Everyone is using 1-page resume or maximum 2-page resume. Okay, that is the standard. And now you are going beyond standard. Unless you have a niche profile, niche experience into some very rare domain, very hard to find resource, then it's a different story. Or if you are applying for research related roles, okay, it's a different story. But if you are applying for a typical employment in typical companies, which many people will be doing, many companies will be hiring, then you have to follow the standard. If you don't follow, then you are risking that you're going beyond the standard and then maybe not get shortlisted, because recruiters have less than 10 seconds. They can't go through multiple pages. You are making it difficult for them. So my recommendation, follow the standard, use 1-page resume, maximum 2-page resume. Even if you use 2-page resume, no one looks at second page, 99%. It is just like the Google second page search result. No one looks at the second page results of the Google. Very few people look at it. Same with the second page of the resume. So if you have second page resume, make sure that you have all the information that is needed in the first page itself, so that you can get shortlisted. Maybe then after that they can go to the second page as well. We will discuss in next steps what are the important things and how you should highlight them in the first page itself. Okay. After 20-25 questions, we will speed up because mostly it will be repetitive. Which personal details should you avoid including on a Swedish CV? Yeah. Again, this is about thinking from the recruiter's perspective. When someone is hiring you, they are looking for information that makes it easy for them to shortlist you or select you. If someone asks you a question in the interview, they are looking for an answer that makes it easy for them to select you, hire you. So no one is looking for the information that is not useful for them. Okay, so unnecessarily don't add any information or don't give any information as an answer to interview question if it is not useful for the job. Okay, a lot of information is not at all useful. You should not add. And you should only add what is useful. As I said, we will discuss what is useful in coming questions. But this age, marital status, number of children, your house address, PIN code number, all those things are not useful. You can enter the city you are in. If you are open to relocate, you must mention somehow you are open to relocate, or you just mention the country name or something like that. Other than that, name, your title, your city, your LinkedIn, phone number, email. Other than that, most of the information is not at all required. You don't have to mention it all. Name and contact information, yes. Work experience, education, yes. And language skills also you can add. If a job posting is in Swedish, what language should your resume be in? Okay, match the language of the job posting, usually Swedish. Okay. Okay, I mean, I'm surprised a lot of people selected Swedish. So, do you send a resume in Swedish if the job post is in Swedish? Now it's time to take a pause and discuss. Is it the correct thing to do, sending your resume in Swedish for a job that is posted in Swedish? Those who are watching on LinkedIn can also comment. Please enter in the chat. No, it's not. It's not okay to comment on, sorry, it's not okay to send resume in Swedish if the job post in Swedish. If you don't speak Swedish, it's not correct. If you speak fluent Swedish, then fine. But if you don't speak Swedish and if you send your resume in Swedish, the general assumption is that you speak fluent Swedish. And as soon as you get a call, the other side, you will hear Swedish, not English. So, and then you can't speak in Swedish. Then you know what happens. The call will be over in 5 minutes, and the next day you will receive the rejection email. So, always send in English. Okay. First of all, if you don't want to apply for a job that is posted in Swedish, that is fine. But if you want to apply, don't send a Swedish resume if you don't speak Swedish. If the language you speak fluently is English, send the resume in English. I would apply even if the job is posted in Swedish. If my profile is relevant, I would still apply. I will take a chance because let's say if they get a very less application or you have more relevant skills or more domain experience, we never know. Anything can happen. I will take the chance and I will send, but I will definitely not send in Swedish because I'm giving an impression that I speak Swedish. And when the recruiter calls me and starts speaking in Swedish, and when I start speaking in English, then it's not a good thing. At least if you can make basic conversations in Swedish, don't apply in Swedish. So if you can make basic conversations, what you can do when you get the call, you can start the conversation in Swedish and then request the recruiter saying that, my Swedish is not that great. I think it's good if we take it in English so that, we can have a very good conversation and I can also express well in English. We can talk that and then it might be a good start. But if your Swedish is too basic, just, whom do all the stuff, just like many people, then it's not a smart thing to do. Any questions? Anyone? Shimita, you wanted to ask something?
Yeah, so I have mixed feelings on that question because, for example, I'm not applying for a job in Swedish. In Sweden, I am not Swedish. But for example, in my country, okay, I speak English as my business language, but I do speak Portuguese. What happens to me is that when I apply to Portuguese, like when the job description is in Portuguese, the post is in Portuguese, even in that situation, I send in English most of the time because English is like a valuable language. Most of the job posts, they require you to speak English independently of their native language of the country. So normally I tend to do so. Sometimes I think that I should prepare. I have a Portuguese CV, but it's not that good as my English CV. And sometimes I have mixed feelings. Should I do as well? And this is the question. Should I do, when you have a case that the candidate, knows the two language, in this case, Swedish and English, should we have to have two CVs separated, like one in Swedish, or for example, one in Swedish, other in English? Should we have both of them?
I assume, at least from the friends I have in Sweden, I think the job markets in Portuguese and India are more or less the same.
Yeah.
So in India, so there are so many languages, so many native languages, a lot of people speak, but we always use English resume. For example, my mother tongue is Telugu, and I never had a Telugu resume. It also sounds so weird to have a Telugu resume because of the profession I'm in IT and tech. So we always have English resumes. So in the job markets, I think English resumes are the best. But the countries like Sweden, Germany, and some other Scandinavian countries, there is a lot of requirement, stress, demand for the local language speaking people, etc., etc. So it works in such countries, but I think in Portuguese and countries like India, some other countries, it's good to have an English resume.
But for example, and probably that happens the same in India and other countries.
Yeah.
I do notice that there is an issue in English speaking. For example, there's a lot of Portuguese people that don't speak fluent English, even in a job market. Even and when I was working in my previous company, one of the assets that I had was that I speak professional English, and the agents, the recruitment agents, told me that there is a gap in the market for English speaking with Portuguese nationality.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's a kind of a mixed feel. I need to work on my Portuguese CV in cases that
Okay.
the person or the company doesn't speak English, because there can be a factor of elimination. If, for example, a recruiter doesn't have that much experience in reading in English, they can probably can know the basic conversational and probably don't understand the wording of certain
Okay.
skills that I have. That can be a factor for rejection, can it not be?
Okay. Okay. Okay, I
Yeah.
mean, I cannot really speak from the Portuguese perspective at all. It's because I've zero experience in Portuguese job market. So yeah, I think I'm not the right person to answer this.
Okay.
But you know, you can talk to some recruiters and uh, as I said, as far as I know, English sells more in some countries. The more fluent you speak in English, the better your chances of getting shortlisted and clearing the interviews. That holds true even in Sweden also for some fields for IT and tech. A lot of
Yeah.
people still need good English skills. I
Yes,
can
they do.
always I can always bet my job searching process on fluent English resume and speaking.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Which statement about photos in Swedish is true? A formal passport style photo is mandatory. Casual professional photo is optional. Yes, photo is always optional. I never say it is mandatory, but I personally feel it's really good to have. You can present your professional self easily using a picture on everywhere, LinkedIn, resume, cover letter, everywhere. So, but it's not mandatory. Next, when listing your work experience, what should you focus on? Okay, now we slowly enter into area enough ranting about ATS and saying what ATS is not and what ATS is, but we also start learning about how to create a best resume, how to create a good resume, and what are all the important aspects of resume. So when you list your work experience, we all list our work experience. Instead of just adding your job duties, always add your achievements and results. Rather than simply saying that I worked as a backend developer using Java Spring Boot, or I worked as a front-end developer using React, phrase them differently. Built a high responsive front-end application using React, or reduce the time to load the front-end page by 10 seconds or 2 seconds or something, some numbers, some statistics, not always numbers and statistics, but mainly two things: one, achievements; two, value in terms of result. These two things you mention, that indirectly tells you about what you did. Don't just mention the job duties. That is what is very important when you mention your experience. Yep. So what is the most important thing to highlight in your resume? There are a few most important, but your skills and experience relevant to the job is the most important, because you cannot edit other things. For example, you cannot change your education, it is fixed. You cannot change your name, you cannot change your email, phone number, and some other stuff, but you can always update skills and experiences relevant to the job for each job description. So these are the most important. There is also one more important, that is title, your job title, which we will talk a little bit in next questions. Who typically review your resumes? Not bots. It is the human recruiters or hiring managers that review your resumes when you apply. What is common with about ATS? It automatically rejects any resumes that is not ATS friendly. That is a common myth. What matters the most in getting interviews according to the content? Tailoring your resume to match the job and highlighting your value helps you get shortlisted the most. In Sweden, how long a CV ideally should be? Not just in Sweden, most of the European countries and Western countries. 1 page is good, 2 pages is okay, more than 2 pages is not recommended. Not just because recruiters have less time to review it, but also because it will not be considered as a standard. Even if you go to some government websites, public government websites, they suggest some single page resume formats to apply for jobs in that country. So what does that say? That says it is established as a standard, and you are expected to follow the standard. If you want to go beyond the standard, then you can go, but expect a different outcome unless you have a niche experience or applying for research related roles. Which section may be added to a Swedish CV if relevant? Awards, certifications. Yeah. We'll talk one by one, all the sections that we need to add. Awards and certifications is one good to have section in your resume. Which practice should be avoided when applying to different jobs? Using the same generic resume for all applications. Yeah. You must always avoid sending the same resume copy to all the applications. You apply for 100 applications and then you get 100 rejections, automated rejections. Okay, now I said automated rejections, but we are also saying ATS will not do automatic rejection. I will explain. Automatic rejection is there, but not as people think by scanning resumes and sending automatically. It is by using some conditions. We'll talk about that at the end, at the very end. But yeah, so if you keep on using the same generic resume for all positions, then you will get automatic template-based rejections. What should you focus on after your resume passes initial screening? Interview preparation and performance. This I mentioned at the beginning of the session. The difficult part in getting a job is clearing the interview. Resume, cover letter, LinkedIn are not big headaches. You can just learn what works and simply follow it. But the real challenge is clearing the interview. So you should also learn, you should invest more time and energy in learning and practicing. Practicing is more important because learning is easy, but it is the practice that actually gets you the job. So if you can get a job anywhere in the world, in any country, you can pick the country, go there and get a job for yourself if you master the interview process, how to ace the interview. Getting a job is one thing, working for the job is another thing. For working, you need to have a lot of hands-on skills and some foundational knowledge, practical experience, etc. But getting a job, it's all soft skills. You can just get a job with basic skills, basic knowledge about any tool, technology, or designation, can still get the job if you have a really good interview skills. That is where your energy should be. I believe very strongly, based on my personal experience of training, mentoring people, and observing the job market very closely. Sweden and Germany and some other European countries have the toughest job markets, the toughest of the toughest. It's extremely difficult, and for some fields almost impossible to get the job. Even in that countries where the job market is very tough, all it takes is 2 to 3 interviews to get the job. That's it. If you manage to get 2 to 3 interviews, then you can have a job. The challenge is to get even the 2 to 3 interviews. Most of the people can, it's very hard. I mean, I've been running some polls. There are so many people who never even got one interview opportunity, even after hundreds of applications. There are so many people like that. Forget about getting 2 to 3. But once you get more than 2 or 3 interviews and still not getting job, then your interview game needs to be fixed. You're not preparing well for that interview. So always remember, you just need 2 to 3 interviews, and if you crack it, that's it. You can get a job. So invest more time in mastering the interview process, mastering the soft skills related to interview. Master how to face each round. Try to learn what are the typical rounds involved in recruitment process in the country you are in, and master each round, how to approach towards each round. That is what you need to focus more on. Yeah. Who ultimately decides your resume leads to an interview? It is the human recruiters and managers. What is good advice when applying to many jobs? Tailor your resume to each job requirement. Which action would likely improve your resume chances? Adding quantifiable results to your achievements. As I mentioned, some percentages, statistics, but don't stuff your resume too much with numbers. That will not look good. What is the benefit of using simple, clean design on your resume? Yeah, so there is one misconception that if you use graphics, too much graphics on your resume, then it is not good. Because ATS will break and it will not shortlist you, something like that. It is a misconception. But at the same time, you don't have to use too much graphics on your resume if you're not applying for creative roles. If you're applying for a graphic designer role or UI/UX designer role or some creative roles, maybe you can come up with very creative style of your resume. But most of the times, just have one simple, clean resume. Very simple one, because you never know who is the other side. The other side, the recruiter or HR or someone who is shortlisting, may not be as creative as you are. So they might not like it. They might consider it's not very professional if you use a very creative resume and you're not applying for a creative role. But a simple, clean design is always a safe bet. No one dislikes a simple, clean resume. So don't take chances of going too creative if you're applying for professional roles. Just go with simple design. That always opens very well in ATS software, and also it is easy for humans to read. Which of these should a Swedish CV focus on? Professional experiences and relevant skills. You can mention your personal hobbies, but no need of mentioning family status and some other personal stuff. You don't have to tell your entire story on resume. You don't have to have too much colorful designs or too much colorful photos. Always have HD professional portrait. Google this and then you will get some examples, and just have one picture of yourself like that. Don't have like too much bright background or disturbing backgrounds or etc. Have some simple backgrounds. If not the ATS who usually decides if you get an interview, it is always the humans. I wanted to stress that again and again, so I've added that multiple times. Okay, if someone says your resume isn't ATS friendly, what could you say? You can ask them, what do you exactly mean by that? And ask them for the name of that software. And 99% of the times they don't know that software. And if they give a name of any such software, then go to the software's website and actually check for yourself and tell them that that's not true, because ATS does not do that. Which action is a waste of time for beating an ATS? Stuffing your resume with irrelevant keywords is a waste of time. Don't do that. Don't stuff. Don't add the entire keywords from the job description and then make them white color so that they are not visible. But don't do all those kind of tactics. It is of no use. Which of these indicates a well-tailored resume? Relevant keywords as part of your actual experience. That's it. ATS stands for Application Tracking System. That's it. Keep your Swedish CV no more than 2 pages, maximum 2 pages. Okay, no more than 2 pages. 1 page is the best. Your resume should match the job description always. Your resume should emphasize your relevant skills and experience. Okay, so that is the last question. Now, I said ATS automatically rejects resumes too. It's not entirely wrong statement. What is wrong is ATS scanning your resume, matching against the job description, and automatically rejecting is wrong. Then what do I mean by rejecting automatically? Now let's say there are some conditions that recruiters put. ATS helps the recruiters to put these conditions. For example, I am looking for a 10 plus years of experienced UX designer. That is my requirement. And when I post the job, I'll put a condition, number of years of experience, 10. Salary expectations, 4,000 euros. That is the maximum I can pay. That's it. I've put similarly 4 or 5 conditions. And when I post the job, when someone is applying, they need to fill in these details. What is your salary expectation? They have mentioned 5,000. How many number of years of experience do you have? They have mentioned 5, but I'm looking for 10. Now ATS helps me with these conditions to move this candidate profile to a different column, that is rejected section. Then ATS will also help me, the recruiters, to send a mail that is already pre-written. So all they have to do is to move this person to the rejected column based on these conditions, and it will automatically send the rejection email. That is how you will get the template based rejection emails. But it is done by the humans. They are putting the conditions. And there is nothing you and I can do about it. Let's say a job requires fluent Swedish. That is one of the requirements. And you don't speak fluent Swedish. You selected, do you speak fluent Swedish? You selected no. And that is one of the qualifications or requirement criteria for them. And there is nothing you can do about it. You will be moved to rejection. You can think of it same as experience. If someone is asking for 15 years of experience and you have only 5 years of experience, there is nothing you can do. It is the requirement criteria and which you are not fulfilling. Obviously, you will be rejected. It is not the ATS that is automatically doing it. It is the requirement set by the recruiters that is doing it. That is how you get automated rejection emails. So check if you are getting too many automated rejection emails. You check whether you are fulfilling these conditions or not. Sometimes you may need visa processing, visa sponsorship, and the employer is not ready to sponsor the visa. Then there is nothing you can do about it. Okay, so keep checking these kind of things and see if you are making any mistakes. If you can't change about it, there is nothing you can do about it. You have to accept the fact that some jobs are not for you. That's it. You should not put your energy where there is no result. You can't go and try for jobs where there is no outcome, where you have very less chance of getting shortlisted. So put your energy and time where there will be outcome, there will be results. So apply for jobs that are close to you. Maybe if you have 5 years experience, apply for jobs that are looking for senior or mid-level experienced candidates. If you are entry level, then apply for entry level positions or internships, etc., etc. So, and even if you are going beyond your skills, education, experience, etc., then expect the rejections and accept the rejections, and don't blame ATS for that. Okay, know that the requirement criteria is not matching or something like that. Okay, so with that, we end this quiz and discussion. As I said, the third section of this presentation is sharing a PPT or presentation, and then discussing more about what kind of components you need to add in your resume so that you know how to create the best resume format. But I will also take a couple of questions before. Nice, very good question. Should we add maternity leaves in CV for avoiding misinterpreting passes between jobs? I will read the question again. Should we add maternity leaves in CV for avoiding misinterpreting pauses between jobs? This is the most common question asked. What should we do about the career gaps or breaks or all these things? It can be due to maternity, or it can be due to relocation, or it can be for any reason. If there is a gap, how to convey it? So I will tell you exactly the same thing that I said before. Now, when you are recruiting someone, you are not looking for their breaks. You are not looking for the gaps in their experience. What you are looking when you are recruiting someone, whether they are fit for this job or not. That is the main criteria. Okay? No one is actively looking for the loopholes or gaps in your profile, in your experience. Okay, that is there in your mind, that okay, I have this experience gap, or I have this break. Okay, what to do about it, etc. That you are thinking, because now you are thinking from your point of view, job seeker point of view. But you have to start thinking from the recruiter's point of view. Recruiter is looking for someone who can do this job. Company is looking for someone who can work on this project, or have these skills, technical skills or soft skills. That is their requirement. They are least bothered about your gaps or breaks or anything, as long as you convince them that you are best fit for this role. So should you mention this in CV or not? So now this is my opinion. Okay, this is the second thing where I say my opinion. You don't have to mention anything that is not relevant to the job. Okay, whenever I say this, I'll immediately get one follow-up question. Then what if they ask me in the interview? Right? I'll talk about that in a while. But when it comes to resume, you don't have to add at all, because that is not the most important thing for the recruiters. For recruiters, what is important is whether your profile matches this job or not. So don't give information that is not needed. Okay, that is the answer for iPhone. I don't have your name, unfortunately. Okay, Narayanan is asking, I have 3 years and 8 months of experience. Can I select 4 years? Select 4 years. It describes myself as someone with 4 years. No, you don't have to. You can mention 4 years or 3 years. Don't even mention the number of years. Okay, just leave it. For example, I don't think I will mention number of years at all. So you can mention around 4 years. It is okay. And time passes very quickly. Very soon you will reach that 4 years. No one takes it very seriously, the number what you put. I mean, as long as it is not too far. For example, you can't put 10 years, but it's okay to put around 4 years, so that it is not too far. And there is no specific advantage of putting 4 years, or you can put three plus years, or you can put 3.8 years also. There is no special advantage of that number, because whoever is hiring will hire you basically for mid-level roles or junior roles. So they know already, they're okay with between 3 to 4 naturally. Okay, let me see if there are any questions on LinkedIn. So you can ask if you have any questions on in the chat in LinkedIn or elsewhere. I will see if there are any other questions. I don't see any questions in the chat, so I will go and present. It will take hardly 10 minutes, and it will be a summary of everything we discussed, plus how to add some important, basically how to organize our content on resume. That's what we will focus in the presentation more. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can enter in the chat. Okay, in LinkedIn, Virat is saying not enough space to fit the content in single page. Kar Karthik Thasan mentioning it is relevant to the recruiter. Okay, yeah, sorry, that was an answer to one question. Okay, let me open the presentation. Hope you can see the screen. Right. How recruiters read CVs. So after today, when you leave this session, I want you to start thinking from the recruiter's point of view. Not only for CVs, even for interviews. At the every stage of interview, start thinking from the recruiter's point of view, a lot of things will become much easier for you in the job search process. And you will also complain less and worry less about rejections or any other things. There will be less negativity in this process, because job search process itself is hectic. We have to maintain our sanity. We can only do that by understanding the reality of the recruitment process. How Swedish recruiters read CVs? They have a very limited time. We already spoke about it. They have less than 10 seconds. And trust me, sometimes they will not even open your resume. And sometimes they will reject in less than fraction of second. And how they do it? For example, I am hiring someone in Sweden and I am not willing to process work permit. That means I am not willing to sponsor visa. And I received an application, and even before I opened the resume, in the metadata, I can see the name, email, and phone number. And the phone number has a different country code, not the Sweden country code +46. It has different country code. I will not even open that resume. I will straightforward reject it. It will take just less than a second for me to see that country code and then move it to a rejection column, because I don't have any department or team that handles work permits and visa related stuff. My company is not equipped with that system. So obviously there is no point wasting someone's time in putting them interview process. Even if they are best fit, if they are shortlisted, selected, I can't practically hire them because they are not in Sweden. And at least that's what I assume, that they are not in Sweden by their phone number. Some students make this mistake. They travel back to their country for vacations, etc., and then they use their country number to apply for the jobs. Though they are coming back to Sweden, they will still use their home country number, thinking that during that period they cannot afford to lose it. I strongly recommend, if you are a student or if you are dependent, if you are somehow living in the country where you're applying for the job, but if you're on vacation, get a virtual number, or somehow, if you are actively looking for jobs, even when you are traveling, always try to have the country number where you are looking for jobs. That will improve your chances. Otherwise, you can get rejected in fraction of seconds. And there are so many other things like that. For example, your title. Using a very generic title given by your previous employer might also get you rejected instantly. For example, software engineer is a typical title that is given by most IT companies. But let's say if I'm looking for a front-end developer with React.js, but you've put software engineer in your profile, then it is practically not possible for HRs to know all the designations that exist out there in the world. It is impossible. So they try their best to analyze and read. If they are into a niche recruitment, then that's a different story. They know everything, all different designations. But if it is a typical recruitment in a software company, then there is no chance that they would know all the designations. Rather than using just software engineer, you also add a pipe symbol as a separator or a slash, and then add front-end developer also, so that the recruiter knows that you are also a front-end developer, not just software engineer. And don't add any title just like that when you're applying. Only add if you have hands-on experience, if you really worked. Otherwise, don't just do that just to get shortlisted. That's not the right way anyways. So your title can also get you rejected instantly. So the title is also very important. And some people don't even mention the title. Now you are making it complicated to the recruiter. They need to search all your resume to find that your profile is suitable for this. You can do that just by adding the title, your name, and right after that just add your title. And if the title is same as the job description or the job title that the company posted, then you have done a good job by making it easy for the recruiter. So recruiters have very limited time, less than 10 seconds, and sometimes even less than a second. Focus on clarity and relevance when you create a resume. This is more important. ATS filtering mechanism. Yeah, contrary to popular belief, ATS systems do not automatically reject candidates. The issue comes from a poor CV structure. It's always the humans that reject. Now let's talk the best practices. This is it. Whatever you are going to learn now, the next 5 minutes, is everything that you need to know to create a resume. I wish I could just say this and leave it, but there is so much misinformation about resume. That's why we had to have this almost more than 2 hour session. Just have a strong professional summary. You have your name and title, and then your contact details or something like that, and then a summary, just 3 to 4 lines. That's it. And the summary must also be in align with the job that you are applying. That means you must modify it every time you apply for the job. As I said, you can't modify everything on your resume. There are only few things that you can modify. That is this summary, skills, and your experience. These 3 things you must always modify with your resume. Next, length and focus. Have 1 page, if not just 2 pages maximum. Never more than 2 pages. And I also don't agree with 2 pages. Many people think because of experience, but I will convey how you can make 1 page resume, even if you have a lot of experience. 1 page resume always works. 2 page resume might work, but more than 2 pages, you are betting on luck. It might still work, but it is luck. You can also do A/B testing. Create 1 page resume, create 2 page resume, apply to the jobs using both, and then see what is getting good response, and then go with that. Don't closely attach yourself to all your experiences, certifications, achievements, and etc. That stuff. So do A/B testing and go with what is working. If you use 2 pages, then make sure everything that is important that we are discussing now will be on the first page itself, and put whatever you want to put on the second page, because no one actually practically looks at your second page unless you are shortlisted. Yeah, have very clear job titles. Sometimes ATS system can pick up metadata like your contact details, name and title, and then display it even before the recruiter opens a resume. Always tailor. We have said this many times. Still, people apply using same resume for hundreds of jobs, but you must tailor your resume. Use achievements over duties. Emphasize your achievements and also quantifiable results, measurable results. Talk in terms of the value that you provided when you in your previous roles. Don't just simply list out the duties. I did this, I did that, worked on this, worked on that, managed teams, all this stuff. It's not just about your technical skills. You should also add some soft skills. Read the job description as many times as you can. Every time you read the job description, it will give you some idea about what you can add. Divide. Now, thanks to AI tools like ChatGPT, Cloud, you can dump the job description there in that, and then ask it to extract all the technical and soft skills and match them with your experience. So wherever you have those similar skills, you add them. Don't never copy paste directly from any AI tools. Always write on your own and then take the help of AI. Use AI as assistant. But balance between technical skills and soft skills. Don't just highlight only technical skills. Yep, just use a simple professional format. No need to bang your head about what is the best format. Is it horizontal? Is it 2 column? Is it tabular? Should we avoid tables? This, that, etc. No need to dig that deeper. Just have a simple professional format. Any decent format would work. I have mentored a lot of people, like more than 100 people directly in person who joined our training programs, and countless people who joined our workshops, webinars, seminars, job strategy sessions. I've never seen too many people using same resume format. All resumes are different in one or other way, and people are getting jobs. What does that mean? That means there is no single format that is the standard worldwide. Okay, you can use whatever works for you. Just make sure it is simple and professional. PDF is the best. We discussed that multiple times. And these are the common mistakes. Too much information, including irrelevant information. One of them can be your breaks, gaps, etc., etc., etc. Not needed. This is where I can take a pause and tell you how you can reduce the size of your resume. Now, recruiter is looking for someone who is good for this job. Okay, a recruiter is not looking for someone who has done PhD in that, unless you are applying for research roles. Okay, when I say PhD, don't take it literally. It's a metaphor. I am looking for someone who can do the job I posted. Let's say you got a very big you got a very big award in some UN related goals. Okay, you may have reduced poverty in your hometown, or you worked as a volunteer and then got some appreciations. So you have done a lot in your personal life, or maybe you are a big sports star, you played at the state level or national level, or etc., etc. So you might have done a lot of things in your life, but when it comes to me as a recruiter, those are all extra, good to have, not mandatory. For me, what is mandatory? If I am posting a job as I'm looking for a software tester, the first thing that I check is whether you can work as a software tester or not. That is what is important to me. Not all the things that you have done in your entire life. They can be really amazing, good, but still those are not my primary requirements, or that is not the primary criteria that I look to select you. So you always fulfill the primary criteria and remove all the not relevant information. Let's say if you got some awards, rewards, you can mention that shows your leadership skills, or your proactiveness, or all that stuff. That is good to have, that will be a bonus, but not at the expense of overshadowing or overriding your relevant experience. Now if you start thinking, okay, for this job, from my entire experience, what is the most relevant, you only keep that, you discard everything else. That's it. If you start thinking from that point of view, for every job you can have a very short resume, one page resume. If you want to create a generic resume, which is nothing but your professional biography, then it becomes impossible for you to have one page resume, especially if you have like more than 5 years of experience. It becomes almost impossible. But when you start thinking in terms of what is important for this job, I will only keep that, I will remove everything else, I will not closely associate myself to all these experiences, projects, and everything, then that is fine. Okay, start thinking from that point of view. If you have more than 5 years of experience, worked on multiple projects, multiple companies, and think that it is very hard to create a two-page resume, a single-page resume. But everyone else, if you don't have that much experience, you don't have to worry much. Try to add as much as even if you did some irrelevant work that is not relevant to the job you're applying, add transferable skills. Try to make your resume look a little bit rich. Just because it is one page doesn't mean that it should have too much gap. Okay, have some decent content for them. Don't add just there are some people who don't, especially if you are entry level, if you have not done any projects, it is very hard to even have one page resume also for some people. Yes, don't add too much information. Very simple, cut down everything that is not needed, put only that is needed. This practice helps you to shorten your resume if you're struggling. Don't use same CV everywhere. Always update your resume based on the job description. Yeah, we discussed about this just now. You don't have to list everything that you have ever done or learnt. Do not put all your projects, achievements, certifications, and everything. You don't have to do that. It is not helping the recruiter at all. Okay, don't use passive language just like duties or all that stuff. Use active language, value you provided, and the ownership you took. Yep, again, avoid personal details, no need of personal details. I consider the career break is also a personal information. You don't have to mention it. But then I mentioned, like, what if someone asks you a question. This is the most common question I got, a follow-up question I got every time I mentioned, no need to add this. So this is what I recommend. It is very interesting that people ask this question. Now, when you attend an interview, you have no idea what questions they are going to ask, right? So it is all instant, like naturally happens. The discussion, you can guess the subject matter, but that is about your experience or the skills or some technical questions you can guess, but you will never know what question they will ask, a specific question. But then people come up saying that what if they ask this question? Now, that is the opportunity for you to prepare well and deliver the best possible answer. If you guess that this question would come in the interview, go prepared, because every question is an opportunity to sell yourself. Every question is an opportunity for you to convince the recruiter that you are the best fit for this role. So, when you already know this question is going to come, the best thing you can do is to go prepared. Prepare your best possible answer. That's it. This applies to any other question that you think, like you have break, and you expect a question about it. Go prepared. Prepare a best possible answer. And you don't have experience in relevant tool. You worked on AWS. They are asking for GCP. So now you are expecting that you don't have GCP experience or AWS experience. Go prepared, because you already know that question is coming, and then you prepare the best possible answer and use it for your advantage. That's what I would suggest. So avoid all the personal information, no need to mention. And if you think they will ask, go prepared. As simple as that. Also, under your experiences, don't add long paragraphs. Some people have a habit of explaining about the company and then bullet points, etc., which will make resume even more longer. Don't never add long paragraphs. Again, think from basic human psychology or reading psychology or recruiter's point of view. It is always easy to read or skim through the bullet points. Remember, recruiters have very less time when it comes to shortlisting. So if you add one-liners or maximum two-liner bullet points, it is easy to read and shortlist you. Yep. So we have spoken a lot about this already. ATS rejects most CVs automatically is a myth. Creative design helps you stand out is a myth. Use simple standard format. Recruiters read everything. No, they don't read. They skim through. Mostly reading happens if you're shortlisted. Most of the times your resume goes to rejected even if before they open. So recruiters hardly read everything. It is also not practical. There is nothing wrong about it. It is basically not practical. Now more experience, more achievements, more pages won't help. What helps always is how best fit your profile is for this job. That is what helps more. Yes, what actually helps, it is the clear structure of your resume, relevant keywords, very good summary, measurable achievements, job specific tailoring every time you apply. And this is our conclusion. Always prefer quality over quantity. Don't apply for 10-15 jobs every day. Just don't wake up one weekend and then become highly ambitious and start applying for jobs like crazy. Don't go bananas. Always prefer quality over quantity. Apply for 3-4 jobs today. Spend at least 30 minutes for each job. Write a nice resume, nice cover letter, and your chances of getting shortlisted will improve. Yeah, always tailor your CV for each role. We have spoken about this many times in this entire session. Tailoring is important. Understanding the Swedish hiring culture, avoid common mistakes. Yeah, again, this is more about the standard. If something is considered as a standard in the country, try to follow the standard. Unless until you have niche experience, niche skill, or research roles or something like that. Yep. If you're not at all getting shortlisted and you're not at all getting job even after getting interviews, then talk to experts, attend sessions, not just me, there are so many people conducting so many sessions. Even the government organizations are also conducting a lot of sessions. Start attending those sessions, talk to people, and also when it comes to taking feedback, take feedback from those who have first hand experience. Don't go to typical career coaches or someone who never hired anyone, who don't know anything about recruitment process or something like that. Always take feedback and mentoring from those who have first-hand experience, or those who at least know someone who have first-hand experience. Okay, save yourself from getting too much advice that might not work. I always say this: when you are a patient, everyone around you becomes a doctor. Start giving all kinds of medical advice. Some people give home remedies, some people give over the counter, some people will, give crazy advices. So you have to save yourself from getting all these kinds of feedback. Get the feedback from people who have first-hand experience, or who at least know people who have that first-hand experience. That will help you if your strategy is continuously failing. If it is working, go ahead with that. Even whatever the insights that you have learned today, you can do A/B testing. If it is very hard for you to not to apply them already, you can create one resume from all the insights that you have learned today and start applying using that resume, and then you have your own resume which is there, and go in your own style, and compare your results in 3-4 months. Because Sweden is such a small country and have a very limited jobs. The job market is not very aggressive, so you have to at least test the job market for 3 to 4 months. That too in the peak recruitment seasons. Right now the summer is coming, the recruitment season will not be very active, but that doesn't mean that recruitment will shut down 100%. No, companies still recruit, so you can test 6 months during this period. But if you start from September, never take break from applying for jobs. It's not a good idea. It is a very, very bad idea. We'll talk about that in some other sessions. But if from September you can try for 3-4 months for the AB testing. That's all. There is nothing much from my side. I've covered everything. We took just 11 minutes more than expected, I think, but we've covered everything. So if anyone has any questions, I'm open to take. You can type in the chat, you can unmute, ask, whatever you prefer. Otherwise, you can also quietly leave for the day because we are done with our session. Okay. Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Vidya. Thank you, Fatma. Right. So no one has any questions. Then thanks everyone for joining. Thanks everyone who is listening to this on LinkedIn and Instagram. Have a wonderful day. See you on, when do we have next session? Let me quickly check. You can go to our meetup group, International Talent in Sweden. If you are living in Sweden, go to meetup group. But if you are not living in Sweden, follow our LinkedIn page, Citadev. You can just type sita.dev and you will get the suggestions, and go to the events section in our Citadev, and you will see another session on April 30th, same time, 1 p.m. CEST. You can check in your country what time it is. Today we discussed a lot about how to create your resume so that your chances of getting interviews or getting shortlisted will improve. But resume will not lead to the job. It is the interview that will lead to the job. So in the next session, cracking the interview code and mastering the STAR method, we will learn about STAR method. We will cover the typical interview process in Sweden and European countries, and we will cover everything. How to approach towards each interview, plus how to practice to ace the interviews. The whole session is about interviews. That will also be around 2 hours. I will also try to share some material. For today's session, there is no need of sharing any material because it's obvious. It is very limited topic, how to create resume. Some misconceptions, some best practices, and some common mistakes. That's all it is. Don't bang your head. But interview preparation, it takes a very long time. You have to learn and then practice a lot. So go to Citadel page and then RSVP so that you get notified on that day. If you RSVP, you can join the Zoom meeting and interact. Otherwise, if you can also join the live that happens on my personal profiles on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. Yep. So thanks everyone. Have a nice day.